Well, who did the?
Do you ever get hold of the other engineers? Or
What?
you get hold of the other engineers for pricing?
Yeah. I did get prices from MRP. Finally.
Is anyone buying it?
This isn't happening tonight.
No.
Is anyone that you know?
The presentation is not happening tonight.
Is anyone logging in as a guest?
Not that I know.
You can get Apple, get browse.
Yeah, we've got the phone and the.
Yeah, get browse.
Yeah, but she doesn't have something on her.
She doesn't have,
Gotta do a phone.
yeah, she doesn't have the speaker on her computer, so she uses.
All right, I will talk to her tomorrow. Thanks.
Label the.
Yeah, everyone's got to have labels. Yeah. What I'm saying is I will talk to her, so I know her phone number is.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to talk about the budget.
All the changes should be in. They were supposed to be in last month. And I had her work all those numbers. There were only three changes.
Yeah,
Because she worked those into the budget.
It's as if.
she still didn't answer my questions about my calculations on the reserves and all that.
I thought that was right in the,
She's got numbers in there, but I don't agree with how they're calculated, and I want to know. Because I could be wrong, I get that,
What's going on?
you know, in terms of what is called for by the controller's office.
What's single?
I just don't agree right now, and she didn't answer me. We can talk about this. when we get to the discussion.
John's got a plan.
It's just stuff I noticed when I walked through again, in the limited time I had this afternoon. The back
I would say, whenever I see those, it's a broken tile. Break from the water, so all that dirt out of there. I got a tile pile, I gotta get a tractor to pull it now. Heck, take it out, see what it looks like. Yeah, tile. 16 inches at a time.
good evening. Welcome to the October 9th, 2024 meeting of the Rush Town Board. You please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Call the roll.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Yeah,
Councilman Kais,
Here.
Councilman Chase,
Here.
and excused is Councilman Brown. And Supervisor Wilbur.
Here. Announcements, I made a mistake with our presentation by John Sharaba for Jack Moore and rezoning. I told him the 16th, and it's the 9th. So I don't know how I did that, but he won't be here this evening. I also like to say that we had a water problem in the basement last Wednesday. Water got into the ceiling for the basement and filled the lens of the light above the computer equipment and then dripped down over the whole bunch of it. So we've basically been out without our server for, well, since last Wednesday. It just got up about 2 o'clock today. So we're a little bit discombobulated, but we're moving ahead. Public comment. Anyone got something to say? Please come to the mic and
Good evening. Amber Corbin, I live here in Rush. I'm speaking tonight as a very proud Rush resident. I am so very proud of the amazing job Recreation Director Patricia Stevens, right behind me, and she did not set me up to do this, is all on my own, did in organizing and directing this year's Rush Fall Festival, and all her volunteers and the help from a horse's friend getting the property ready at the town of Rush White Springs Farm on East River Road. I've participated in the Rush Fall Festival since 2019. The previous years were okay in the hamlet, not very well attended, especially from our Rush residents. But in 2024, wow, Rush Fall Festival held at White Springs Farm stood out as the largest fall festival I have ever attended as a Rush resident. Many Rush residents shared that they were not even aware White Springs Farm was there. I was there all day at the Supporters of a Horse's Run table. Even though there were a few rain showers, the people just kept coming and coming and staying and staying. The parking area filled completely up. Families and kids were playing in the straw bale pile, gaga pit, wagon rides, thank you, Councilman Kais, horseback rides, watching the amazing horses in the pastures, and so much more. It was shared with me that there were well over 300 cars parked at the Fall Festival throughout the day. This smile, yeah, I'm reading fast, so not smiling a lot, but my smile you see on my face is the same that is on so many others that attended the Fall Festival at White Springs Farm. Everyone that I talked to could not say enough wonderful things about our town and the location and all that was offered that day. They also marveled at the pristine condition of the property. Many knew how rundown and overgrown the property has been in the past before a horse's friend arrived. Even more amazing, though, is that I spoke with people from Mount Morris, Webster, Spencerport, Honeoye, and so many other towns. They all commented on how lucky the town of Rush is to have this family-friendly event. So again, thank you again to Recreation Director Patricia Stevens for her vision for hosting the Fall Festival at White Springs Farm, for the town board for supporting her, which really showcased our town of Rush in such a positive light. Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else? All right, moving on. Approval of the abstract.
Did we have minutes? The minutes for us. Supervisor, was there minutes to approve?
Oh.
We don't have minutes because I couldn't get back on to finish them up, so
right.
we'll get them later.
Sounds good. I so move, having reviewed all vouchers on abstract 10-1 dated October 9th, 2024, authorizes payments in the amount of $82,864.01, which includes Fund AA General in the amount of $44,994.67. Fund DA Highway in the amount of $36,609.53. And Fund LL Library in the amount of $1,178.81. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Aye.
Councilman Kais,
Aye.
Councilman Chase.
Aye.
Supervisor Williver,
Aye. Board of Officers. Councilman Chase.
Nothing to report.
Councilperson Morelli?
Thank you. On Saturday, September 28th, I too was among the people that parked and attended the festival for a while. I just marveled at how beautiful it was. And when I pulled in and saw all those cars, I went, oh my God, wow, this is awesome. And of course, watching Luther going back and forth with those, a full wagon load every time of people just enjoying themselves on the hay rides and just walking around. I just had a smile on my face the whole time. I was so excited, for the town to showcase, what we have here and what we're about. So yeah, thank you, everybody, and thanks, Pat, for pulling it off. Was a big deal, big deal. I have spent a considerable amount of time investigating holiday lights for the hamlet. And maybe we'll have an opportunity to talk about them later, hopefully. So you tell me when. And I know we're not having the presentation on the rezoning proposal, but I did a fair amount of time on that as well. And I could share my thoughts anytime anybody wants to hear them. So I don't know what is appropriate for that, but I just also, and maybe you're gonna say this too, Dan, remind people that on October 28th is the second public meeting for the bicycle and pedestrian safety and connectivity study. So it'll be at the pavilion, I think 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. So let's keep this going. Let's get the input. We got a lot of input the first time around at the public meeting in June. And so, yeah, let's come out and see what we want to do. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Councilman Kais?
Not a whole lot to report, other than I too attended the Fall Foliage Festival and was pleasantly surprised at the amount of people that were there. I know when we moved it there, I kind of had my doubts about moving it from downtown Rush over to there, but that definitely surprised me. A lot of people showed up, and when Pat asked for 2 wagons, I kind of, yeah, okay, but like you said, a lot of people were there, and those wagons were full constantly. They just, people loved it. They good comments for everything, from the vendors to the food trucks and the pie eating contest, I guess. So that it was a well attended. I mean, you could have sworn there was a miniature county fair going on over there, so I was very happy it came off the way it did.
Thank you. I also attended the Fall Festival. I had my grandson with me. It's hard getting him out of there. Finally, that's it. I'm ready to go. And Pat says, what about the games? Then we had to go over and play all the games on the way up. It was fantastic. It really, thanks again, Pat. Did a great job over there. I know everything that went into it and maybe next year will be easier, but it's going to be bigger. So just so you know, the second, December or October 2nd, I met with Senator Helmings. She just stopped by to see how things are going in town, see if I had any concerns about anything. We talked for a while. Yesterday morning, I met with the Rush Rotary. They're curious about the town of Rush, just wondering what was going on. Gave them an update of what was happening. It was a nice meeting. I also met with Tracy Sutherland from National Grid, and we went around town and marked out figured out which poles we would put holiday decorations on. She also said we should think about changing our street lights to LEDs. There's an upfront cost, but we could probably save money.
Save it up, probably.
And that might come in handy if we we hook up electric to the poles. We're gonna pay $1,500 a year for having the plugs active on the poles. It might offset that. It could be a good move. We met yesterday also and went over the employee handbook that we've been working on all year. It's getting close to being finished. We'd like to get it done before the end of the year. There's implications in it for the budget, so we really need to get it wrapped up. And that's it.
Can you, give us an update on the water district? Did we get the information back to move forward?
We have not, as far as I know, they're working on the map.
Can we nudge anybody?
I can give them a call tomorrow and see what's going on.
Okay, a nudge. Thank you.
Sure. All right, moving on to the old business. Oh, I'm sorry. Pam, do you have anything to report?
Collection of school taxes, we've collected and posted so far $3,886,712 $3,886,712.33 with about another 600,000 more to go. And my warrant ends on October 31st. From that point, taxes will be going to the Treasury downtown. The certified payroll sheet that includes 5 categories of human resources data that I collect was returned from civil service with 0 discrepancy, so I was really happy about that. I did attend the fall festival and it was great. I've been to every single one of them since we started, and Pat did an excellent job putting it all together. Met with the supervisor, secretary, and a couple other of the department heads to go over some of the additional things with the employee handbook. That has to, as Supervisor Williver suggested, it said that it's got to be looked over before the end of the year. I will be attending the Monroe County Town Clerks Association meeting on Thursday as the vice president. And as Supervisor said, it's been a strenuous week on getting documents out. So hopefully the residents will be a little bit calmer on getting stuff up on the website. We'll be working on that tomorrow and the next day to get some information posted there. Because I know it's been some of my handwriting previously, so I apologize for that, but hopefully we'll have a better place. And if some of you haven't noticed, we now have 2 pictures with Janet Cruz's artwork from Places in Town, placed in here. So we're probably finally got that up. And I think that's it.
Kevin, do you have a report?
I don't have anything to report this week.
Thank you. Moving on, old business. The tentative budget. With the tentative budget, we decided to go 2% above the tax cap of 2%, so it'd be a 4% increase over the previous years. We felt it was necessary. The town board really hasn't raised taxes very much in the past 10 years, and the cost of everything since the pandemic have gone up probably 38% or so. So we need to start catching up and move forward, or we're gonna be in a lot of troubles going down the road. Gone over it. It's our 3rd shot at it. There was, from the tentative budget, the last meeting, there were 3 changes that we did. There was We moved money from the contingency fund. Lowered it by $10,000. Recreation salaries that Pat had put in for increase in last year's budget didn't get done, so they're in this budget. We're gonna try to move the supervisor's newsletter to all digital with just limited distribution to people who sign up to have it delivered to their house, so they can have a hard copy if it's better for them. And one more thing, I can't remember what it was, deal with the library.
Thought we transferred some, I thought we were moved a little bit more to
Yes,
that
you-
fund because we kept
With
dipping
the,
into their unappropriated funds, and
Yes.
it was, we were depleting that library fund pretty rapidly, I thought was the other
Yeah.
thing we had
so
done.
some of the 2% that we're increasing the above the 2% that we can will be going into the unexpended balance of the library because they continue to drain it down.
It's just that the library doesn't have many resources to generate revenue where
Yeah.
other aspects of the town do. And Kirsten does a great job of balancing her budget and taking care of her employees. It's just they need a little bit of help. So
Her budget's
we're looking to do that.
mostly driven by minimum wage.
Yeah, and
And-
their income is based off of fundraisers and some
Yeah.
smaller events that she can get donations for. So we're just trying to help keep their head above water moving forward is kind of what we were looking at there.
Was there any adjustment made, because I saw in the abstract, today's abstract, that the town is paying part of what its obligation is to the 1911 house?
Yeah.
Did we make an adjustment in the budget for that or not?
I believe we did.
I was just, I didn't have time to look earlier.
I believe that was down to 77,000 from, it was above 100.
Yeah,
It's under the historian.
I'm looking for,
Historian contractuals down to 77,650. And it was,
98, I
yeah,
believe.
yeah. I see it. Okay. Okay, so it's reflected in there.
yes.
So that helps.
Also in there
But
is,
where did we take it from? We had it?
It was from, in a conversation I had with Janice, I think that money was in the unexpended fund balance from the transfer we did when we spent the ARPA funds on the fuel tanks and it got brought back over.
So we had enough to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was curious where,
Yeah, so was I, so I asked.
thank you.
After Derek's comment the last meeting, I was like, that's a good question. So I
Yeah.
thought about it a little bit more and got it explained.
Okay, thank you.
also in here is, there's $260,000 for buildings contractual expended. A large portion of that, it would be for the grant for the, that we're anticipating getting for the repair of Building 7 over at White Springs Farm. So that would actually be a wash. We would get 125 in and 125 out, but we have that money built in there now that, because we're gonna expend it after we get the grant, but it's not gonna be moved. So that's like 125,000 that it's basically a placeholder. So
But there could, I mean, that essentially is a bonus then,
against.
because we don't have that 125 yet.
No,
So like
not
that's
yet.
125
Yeah,
we figured
yeah, that's,
that
if we get the grant,
it goes and
it just. It's 120, and if we don't get it, we didn't spend it.
Yep.
And. So
Yeah.
in our final, against the unexpended balance.
I think that's good practice to
it
put something
should
like
be-
that in
it
place.
would really be $125,000 less.
Okay,
That project.
yep, good.
So I feel like we're ready to move forward with this. Is there any other comments?
Yes.
Okay.
We have two versions. of a budget in front of us.
I moving for the one that was updated that we got today.
Okay, so I'm just looking at it and I don't understand it. I'm not saying I'm for or against it. I'm saying I don't understand it.
Okay.
And it's the one that, without a full-time supervisor. It's the lesser. So you could look at the schedule of salaries of elected officials, the last page.
Mhm.
And with a full-time supervisor, you know, and this part, it's in the budget right now, and unless we say it isn't, the supervisor's salary would be 68,000.
Mhm.
If we don't go for the full-time, this other budget reflects a supervisor's salary of 46,400. But I don't understand where that comes from, because
Janice researched part-time supervisors in Monroe County. And this was the highest. I think this is, I'm not sure what town this is, Parma, I believe. This for part-time supervisor, this was the highest salary that is being paid currently across Monroe County.
so, but that reflects a 36% increase. Not a 3.3% like
No,
everybody else is
no,
getting.
no, I agree. It does.
Okay, so if you got a 36% increase, what else will you do for the town?
I,
I'm just, you know.
right now, I'm working between 40 and 50 hours a week. And I'm getting paid for part-time, whatever that is. If it's 20 hours, 24 hours, it's unrealistic. And for the past long period of time, the supervisor has put in full-time hours, and I just can't afford to live on $34,000.
Okay,
I mean, well, what I have to, so I'm working 40 to 50 hours a week here, and I have to work somewhere else. And there are more things that I really should be doing for the town. I should be attending all the supervisor meetings, which they meet on Fridays, and I cannot attend them. And that would be a great benefit to the town if I were there.
I agree.
And there's other meetings that I don't have time because I have to work because this job doesn't pay enough.
So if we say, okay, we'll go to the 46.4 to keep basically your current schedule, which is more than
Well,
part-time.
I'm still gonna have to be doing something else. 46.4, be slightly more comfortable, but I'm still gonna have to be somewhere else part of the week.
Okay. So are you saying, so you're not gonna be any more hours? But you're saying you're already more than 30 or 25 or whatever.
If it were
the part-
46, I would probably try to find something to do on a Thursday, so I could, most of the supervisor meetings were on Fridays. So I could attend those, but there's still, I mean, this past week, Thursday I was here all day and I was supposed to be somewhere else. Friday I was here half the day. I was supposed to be somewhere else. Saturday I was here finishing up the repairs on the valve that malfunctioned. And but it seems like every week there's something that I need to be here for.
I don't doubt that. I'm not challenging what you're doing. Believe me.
I think one of the issues that we're facing is some of the previous supervisors had retirements and they had the luxury of spending a full-time job here with the retirement and the pay that was given. Without the town realizing that they were basically working a full-time job here. I know Bill Dishes, when I was on town board, he spent a lot of time down here. And I'm sure that the people who follow him after probably does very similar. Just Dan is still young enough and he doesn't get the pension and doesn't have backup stuff yet. And he's here full time, basically. I mean, I know it's a call we gotta make, but I think in the long run, the town's gonna be better off for it. It's a bullet to bite, but I think in the long run, it's the right thing, right choice. There's the next guy coming in, he might be the same as Dan, you know, he may not be retired, you know, this.
So at the 46.4, is that still considered, you're saying part-time and would not be, it's just more money for what you're doing?
But I'm still gonna be
And-
working somewhere else.
I understand. But that would, the town would not have to kick in benefits then?
I'm not exactly sure how that works. Yep. The town would,
If you're more than, that wouldn't be part-time.
Well, I could make $1 million an hour and work 1 hour and that's still part-time. That's not, the amount of money does not necessarily mean unless you're an hourly, it's hours. And we're saying that all the supervisors, you know, have been paid on some, based on part-time without benefits. So we're saying that may or may not change. What
Well-
this reflects is status quo, but more money. Am I right? I'm right. I know I'm right.
Right, and I think we should go full-time and go for the 68,000. That's what I think. I think
I don't need benefits, but
in the future that may change, and that's something as we go through the handbook that we can address that. But I've read some of the emails we've gotten from employees that work in this town hall and their feedback and what they think about the supervisor, and they need him in here. They need him working. There's questions that he needs to answer. And I've even heard that, you know, well, you're the deputy, then you should fill in. Well, if Dan Wolver or a supervisor and a deputy supervisor are working together on a Thursday and Friday, if the supervisor can't be there, a deputy supervisor isn't going to make those critical decisions on that Thursday and Friday. They're going to push that off and wait till that following Monday when the supervisor comes back. So having the deputy's supposed to fill in then, that's not the case. That they shouldn't be making those decisions. The only time that, in my opinion, that would be applicable is if something was to happen to the supervisor and it was a long-term absence for one reason or another. Then the deputy would step in and make some of those more critical day-to-day calls. But if a supervisor is not full-time and is only not there 2 days a week, then to just have another, essentially a town board member that is a deputy supervisor make those critical decisions because the supervisor isn't there for 2 days a week, that's not the way it should go. In my opinion, I mean, the supervisor needs to be there to make those decisions. And as everyone has said, most supervisors have put in more than the allotted time that they're supposed to put in. And for me personally, going by this place every day, a couple times a day, most times, there's not very often that I don't see the supervisor's vehicle in that parking lot. Even on the day he's not supposed to be there. It might not be there all day, but there is some point during the day that he's here. And as anybody knows that has served anywhere in this town, it doesn't stop when your vehicle's here. It's beyond that. It's after that. I mean, you could clock the hours that you have sitting in that office or being in this building. You could, and you would hit your time by Thursday for sure. Start clocking the rest of it. You're hitting it by Tuesday at probably 11 o'clock at night. So in my opinion, I think this is the right step forward. And honestly, nothing against Dan. He's not going to be here forever. And it may be a step to draw in maybe candidates that are like, well, that's worth stepping into that position for. So maybe we would pull in you know, it may be more appealing to people.
Mhm.
That's just my take on it. I don't. Listen. It's not set in stone. A year from now, we're all like, this was a terrible idea, then I guess we can go back on it. But I think right now, this is a step in the direction that we need to take. So,
Luther?
I mean, similar to what I was trying to explain is the position is what the position is, and it spends a lot of time in it, and the previous ones have taken it to a level of being here and being relied on. And I agree with Dan. I think it's the right thing to do. Our small town is growing. It's whether we like it or not. I think it is time for a full-time supervisor, and like I say, if Dan doesn't run in another year, it's more attractive to have a full-time spot than a part-time position that you're gonna spend a lot of time at. So I realize there's a cost to it, don't get me wrong. But I still think it's the right decision. It's the same as what we're thinking about with the rest of it, the budget. We're making some hard choices this year because of the way it is. And looking at the numbers, you got the jump here for 25, but it's not a huge step from what I see going into the full time. It's a step, yes, but that's my 2 cents.
I just wanted to hear everybody's 2 cents. And again, my comments is not a reflection about what I think the quality of Dan's participation in the stuff that he does for the town. It has nothing to do with that. It's purely economical. So I want everybody to say they're making that decision, knowing that it's gonna cost more. I want that acknowledgement.
yeah, we obviously we realize that it's going to cost more, and like I said, we have decisions that we're going to have to make moving forward as far as what we want to do with some of the retirement and other benefits and stuff like that. So it's
I
really
agree.
hard to make that assessment on what the real cost of this is going to be moving forward after Supervisor Woolever is no longer supervisor, and we have a supervisor that maybe will want to tap into that. But as of right now, for this year, we know we don't. That's not there right now, and we can always go back if it looks like it's gonna be too much.
Fair enough.
Anything else with the budget? Or do you wanna move
Well,
on?
one more thing.
Okay.
Okay. And it's not so much the budget, it's the presentation that I still have problem with of the fund balance analysis. That is part of the budget paperwork that gets filed and posted and so on. And I have not gotten a satisfactory answer as to the calculation of the fund balance as a percentage of the proposed budget. I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong. And I think this bottom window here should be 2025 projected, not 2024 projected. But I think, and again, I have asked the question that my back of the envelope calculations, is that how the comptroller's office looks at it? And I have not gotten that response. So I don't know whether these percentages are correct. In my opinion, they are not correct. So I don't want it's, to me, if I'm correct, then this is misleading. If I'm not correct, then okay, fine, good, we move forward. But I'm just not, I need to be satisfied. So while, and that's the numbers that we're looking at when we look at a healthy fund balance. Because my calculations show on these revised budgets now, not a 61% for the general fund, but 42%. If I'm right. So,
These are the new numbers.
yeah, I'm looking at the new ones.
I got 330.
Well, this is the part-time supervisor. It's the same math on the other one. It's the same math. But I just went through one, we just got this afternoon and I wanted to look at that, but when I calculate the numbers, at any rate, I'd really like Janice to find out and to get an example from the comptroller's office so that make sure that we are reporting the right information. Can we get that? Or a verification that we're looking at it correctly? It's a tool that the board needs to use when we're analyzing, can we do this or not?
Is it possible to, I know we got the resolution on here to propose this. Can we make the resolution based on the fact that we get the information back, but we could put this out there in the meantime? Saying, assuming that the numbers come back
With the
They-
condition.
with a condition that you're looking for, and the numbers are where they should be, that then this budget will be the one that will go forward. I don't know.
I
It-
think the
again,
issue
I-
there would be, you have a tentative budget now. If you adopt the resolution to say that it's the preliminary budget and something were to change, now we've got an issue with the preliminary budget that we reapproved. I think we need to get that answered, this answer addressed, and make sure that everyone's comfortable with this before we take it from the tentative stage to the preliminary stage.
Okay,
I think there's still certainly time to do that. I don't think that, I think it's November 10th.
Because again, I'm not talking about the budget, the line items in the budget. I'm talking about this summary of the fund balances.
Right.
But if we don't have any problems with the different line items in the budget, it's just a calculation of the if this number is wrong, what are we gonna do to change it? We would have to start,
No. If this number is wrong, I'm saying the math,
yeah,
We had the
I understand.
not this number.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
If
That
we're
number,
not gonna change any of this,
right, that's
we're just
correct.
gonna recalculate this.
Yes,
And we're gonna get an answer and that's gonna
Yes.
be.
can I ask you a
That's what I'm
question? Even
saying.
if you're right, we're still legal.
we're still what?
Legal. The comptroller was what, 30-some%?
Correct. Yeah, you shouldn't go below
Oh.
30.
So, I mean, we're
And
still
we
at,
changed it, we
right,
made
so
some
we're still at
adjustments.
42.
42, yes. So yes, I agree. But I think we should still get that. We
Explain.
shouldn't reflect something that's not correct.
So,
Trying to think if we would, if the preliminary, well, we can change the preliminary budget before it goes final anyway, so.
Yeah.
There's another bite at the apple, so.
Yeah,
I
because
think
it's
we can
gonna go
move
through
forward.
public review.
Right,
and
we gotta
then we
schedule
can
a
make
public hearing
changes
anyway,
and
so we'd have time to.
if we have to change something, so we could adopt this and we
You
can
could
get the
adopt the
figures.
you could accept the tentative budget to get it preliminary, you have the public hearing, if there's information that comes out, then we can make that adjustment at that. point.
all we really need is just a condition, just an explanation on where that number came from
Yes,
with that condition. So if we can approve it with the explanation of that number, if it's satisfactory, we move forward
and then if
with
something.
it, with it
happens,
just as
we
it
can-
says. If something changes, then then it's just a refigure of a calculation apparently. So.
Right.
Yep.
And we're not in trouble at that point. It's just a different number.
No, I was thinking it was gonna be something more more significant of a
Yeah.
modification, but that.
Yeah,
modification
no.
is better.
It's,
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
okay, so I'm gonna read the resolution then.
Okay.
I so move to adopt the tentative budget as the 2025 preliminary budget. Resolution of the town of Rushtown Board adopting the tentative 2025 budget. Whereas the town of Rush 2025 tentative budget, I'm gonna put in here as received on October 9th. Because we had two, so the budget that we had received on October,
We
To be dated.
It is dated October 9th.
yeah, but I just, the one that we got. The one that we got today is dated October 9th.
Okay, we got two today, so we have to be
Okay,
specific.
so
Yeah, right.
right. So how do we identify?
Which salary are you talking?
We are talking about with the supervisor's salary being
Full-time.
68 now.
$68,000. For review and comment. Whereas the town board has determined that it is in the interest of the town of Rush to approve the 2025 tentative budget as the 2025 preliminary budget. Now therefore be it resolved that the 2025 preliminary town budget is hereby approved and shall be filed with the town clerk. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately, with the condition that the town of Rush fund balance analysis is explained as to how we got to 61% in the general fund. Does that work for everyone?
I would just say that with the provision that we verify the calculations on the fund balance analysis with regard to the percentage, the fund balance percentage.
For the general
calculation.
fund, correct?
Sorry,
Back in the.
Let's say that one more time.
that we, with the provision that the fund balance analysis schedule is verified as to the calculation of the fund balance as a percentage of the proposed budget. Make sense?
Mhm.
But we also need to insert, and maybe you did, that we're looking at the $68,000 supervisor.
I know which one we're, I know.
I know,
which
but
one
we
now.
have two.
I know, but I know, because I gave them both to you. so
I know you
which
did.
one It is.
Okay,
The way I signed it, I know which one it is.
okay. No, I know you know, but because two were handed out and stamped and all that, do we need to specify?
I did when I read it. I said
Yeah, but she doesn't
68,000.
have that.
Yes, I do.
You did.
Yes, I do.
That's what I'm asking.
I do, because I gave both of them to you.
I know,
Stamped in the 9th, and I know which one is which.
I know you do. He read it specifically. I just wanna, that's how I am. But,
I know which one it is.
okay,
Do I have a second?
The X.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Councilman
Chase,
Aye.
Councilman Kais,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver.
Moving on, review of the fall festival. Again, Pat, excellent job.
Oh, thank you, Dan, very much. Thank you, Rushtown Board, for supporting me doing this endeavor. Luther, thank you very much. I have so many people to thank you. I did want to tell you, we had 14 volunteers and six staff members that actually pulled this off along with the Rush Henrietta Rotarians. Then we also had the natural helpers at the high school, highway department helped, J. Crew donated, pumpkins. Chase's helped with the straw maze, which was awesome. And, also I want to thank Phil Dagger, who was my parking master, who actually did all the parking part. I ended up being $57 under budget, believe it or not, with all that spending. I was still under budget, which was fabulous. The biggest problem that I had, of course, was I didn't have a corn maze, which was upsetting. And the food trucks were an issue because I had food trucks all selected back in February. And 2 weeks before the festival, they withdrew. So I was like scrambling around to try to get food trucks there. Poor Jim Colby, I felt so bad because all the pressure was really put on him as far as food, and it just was overwhelming, but he did really well and his staff did wonderful as well. And we had some farm vendors, which people were really excited about. And if somebody can pick a date where it's not going to rain and just tell me the date, I'll put it in there because every year I have it, it rains.
I know the forecast was good though.
I know. I can't seem to pick a day where it doesn't rain, but I'm very happy. I'm really glad.
Terrible. I mean, it was drizzly and kind of, but it wasn't, could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been definitely
My
worse.
wife got
Dan.
on the one real
Um, Next year, I hope to have the corn maze and I want to have pumpkin chunkin and get RAT involved in doing that as well. So that would be a lot of fun. So, and any other suggestions that anybody has? So Luther, I'm glad everything went well with the,
Have you maintained the markings for the utility
Yes.
markouts?
Well, I left them there for the gas lines, you mean? I left them there, hoping they won't get run over, but I'm not supposed to permanently mark them. I asked Dan about it and
No,
I
we
asked,
can, survey them though.
it does
we
say
have-
that you can survey, yeah. We would have to
Get
pay.
survey so we have a record of where they are.
Be a good idea.
So.
All right.
Does that prevent you from having to call them out
No,
tomorrow?
you're still gonna call them, but we would have knowledge base on if we wanted to do something dumb, put a tent up ourselves or something,
Okay.
We'd
One
have
thing,
knowledge base
one
on it.
thing I do want to say, which is extremely important, is the week leading up to it, it was a lot of work. And when I was over there, Horses Run had all these people working on that property to make it pristine. And I gotta tell you, there's no way that I could do what they did to get the property in order like they did. I watched all of them. There were volunteers. There was Matt. They were mowing the pastures. They were mowing the lawns. They did trimming. It was amazing what they did to make it look as great as it did. And that's all part of it too. I mean, I had people helping me and everything, but I can't do what they did. So I just wanted to put that out there and thank Horses Friend for doing that because it made it successful. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Pat.
That's the purchase of 2 historic signs. Sue, got,
I'll make a motion. Thought we talked about these.
go ahead.
You need me to?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
I already talked about it. That's why I worried about it.
Does anyone need a copy? I don't know if this was distributed to you. But it's a copy of the quote I've received. These are the same signs that we have in the Veterans Memorial. So they're made by a company called Panier out of Gibsonia, Pennsylvania. They're the same company that does all the National Park interpretive signs. I like these better than the metal signs because we can update them, we can change them. If need be as time goes on. So I have, this money is in my budget, I planned for it last year, requested this year's budget. 2 different signs, one would go by that little lookout that was the base of the mill silo. And that would explain what was there that time, that's a 28 by 24 inch sign. The same as most of all of the signs around the Veterans Memorial. The World War II sign is larger, and that would be the second sign, 36 by 24. That would go a little bit further down and talk about what used to be there as far as the mill, the lumber yard, the canning factory. That would have about, I'm allowed like 500 words text and maybe 3 and 4 images could be included.
When you say further down, so do you mean further down like the trail or like further down like in the park?
Well, and talked to Dan about this, and we probably have to walk down there together to find out exactly where I can put it, because I know some of that is county
Yeah.
property. And I don't know if we need permission, or we just make sure we keep them within our own, park area.
Right.
So.
Just want to make it somewhere where people will be
Yeah,
able to
I think
see
that
it and
area
utilize
gets
it,
a lot
right?
of activity, a lot of people fish there, see people there taking photos, you know,
Yeah.
all sorts of things. But I think most of them probably have no idea what used to be there.
What they're standing on.
Yeah, exactly. That little lookout,
Yeah.
they don't know that that was the base of the mill.
Yeah.
You know, silo at one time, and it's kind of like passive education. So I just think it's a great opportunity to let people know that there was a lot more there at one time. And I want to, in both of these signs, because I'm limited by the text and I only have so much to say, I can put a QR code in, and then that'll take it to our website where there'll be additional photos and more information.
That's great.
Yeah.
And again, you know, as much as I can.
Mhm.
I have to ask, is there another company that makes similar sign?
When I did the research for the Veterans Memorial, I looked at a number of different ones, or looking for signs. And this is the one that kept coming up as being the preeminent one for this type of signage. So yes, there probably are other companies, but.
Not of the same quality.
Right, and I figure if the National Park Service works with them, they've got to be, you know, good quality. Any questions?
Now you can go.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve the purchase of 2 historical signs with Fund AA 7510.4 historian budgeted funds from Veneer, 345 Oak Road, Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, 15044, in the amount of $3,090. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Aye.
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilman Pies,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver.
Aye. We need to set a public hearing for the preliminary budget.
I so move to schedule a public hearing of the preliminary budget on October 23rd, 2024 at 7:15 PM at the Rush Town Hall, 5977 East Henrietta Road, Rush, New York, 14543. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Aye.
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilman Pies,
Aye.
Supervisor Williver.
Aye. Not on the agenda, but I think we should talk about Christmas lights.
You?
Yeah. I met with Tracy Sutherland from National Grid. We need to address, along with the Christmas light or holiday lights, the clock. We could get it all wrapped into one thing. We need to put a meter on it. Currently, when the clock was hooked up, it was, we'll just look it up for you. Don't worry about it, but now that Niagara Mohawk is now National Grid says, you're not paying for electricity on that. So we have to put a meter on that, and we'll run all the plugs down the street off that meter. So, and we'll only, pay for electricity that we use on them. So, and they'd also be available if somehow we had other decorations that needed to be plugged in, we could do it all year. Just pay for the electric. Gene's been looking into decorations. There seems to be one that's better than the other. It's not necessarily the cheapest, but I kind of think it's a better quality light.
Is that the one from Creative?
Yes.
Yes.
It-
I agree. Thank you.
But
Oh, not that one, not that one.
holiday outdoor decor,
Yes, holiday outdoor decor.
but with our purchasing procurement policy, I think we have to go with the lower one, but I think that quality probably plays into it.
Can we make that
If
determination?
you can make a determination that one company's product is superior to the other, even though the product costs more, if there's a distinction between the two that you can draw, and it's the best value for the town, then that would give you a justification for going with a higher amount. If they're equal quality, then yes, you need to go with a lower amount. But if there's a clear distinction between the quality of the two,
Like that we believe that one's better and we're gonna get more longevity out of that
it
and
could be useful life of that product versus the other. It could be, that would be the ideal, something that like, even though this one costs more, the useful life is for more seasons.
Yes.
For sake of argument. So it's worth paying more because we're gonna get a longer useful life. We're not gonna have to replace the lights with something else sooner. But there needs to be some rational basis for choosing a company or a product that's higher in value. If they're of equal quality, then there's really no determination. There's no real discretion. You need to go with the local. But if there's a clear difference between the two, then as long as you articulate what the difference is and the justification for going with the higher product you get.
Thank you. We believe that it is a better, higher quality fixture. Both in the design of it, the appearance of it. And again, I independently zeroed in on this company and Sumi did the exact same thing without even talking to each other. And I looked at 6, 7 different places, either they, whatever. I looked around a lot. At a lot of, and Sue did the exact same thing. And we both came in onto the same company. I talked to the guy on the phone. They have, turns out, done business with the town in the past, and it's the same company that the Lions Club did business with years ago. Apparently, we had some decorations years ago. And they worked with this same company. And they do have a presence in Western New York. So.
was there any kind of like warranty on anything, Gene, that you recall?
Warranty, I don't know. I can ask about that.
Well, I was just
Yeah.
curious. I mean, that could be a good leg up, I guess.
I don't know about warranties.
Just a question.
Yeah,
And driving around the town, there are actually 23 poles that should have lights on them.
We could start with 20.
Hmm?
We could start with 20.
well,
Yeah.
I priced out 20 because I didn't know
Yeah,
how
yeah,
many we were usable.
I walked around and I counted 24. We went around and counted 23.
So even at that, I'm gonna have to scale it back because at 20 decorations and he was giving us a discount. For getting 20 from this one company, including shipping, was gonna come to $11,729.21, which is over our budget, so I'm gonna have to knock a few more.
So last year we set aside $10,000 for the lights. We could not to exceed $10,000 and
I'll work it out.
cut it back to make that work.
Okay, so I can work with you and we'll call and we'll, maybe the guy will feel sorry for us.
It's the holiday season almost.
Yeah.
You can refer to other towns in the area.
So yeah, so if we could get that going, I'd like to call him tomorrow and get this in the works and say we're gonna do it. So that we can get it. Because I think things are coming together here.
Resolution.
We might actually have some lighting in that hamlet for the holidays.
Want to try to wing a resolution?
I can work at it. Kevin, can you correct me as I go? I so move to authorize the supervisor to purchase holiday lights from Holiday Outdoor Decor.
Yep.
In the amount not to exceed $10,000. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Aye.
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilman Kais,
Right,
Supervisor Williver.
Aye.
on the question. You need a resolution to have Niagara Mohawk put the plugs on the pole, and if so, I think it'd be worthwhile to change those lights over to LED. That'd be an immediate savings.
I'll contact her tomorrow and tell her that we want to move ahead with getting the plugs hooked up and the clock hooked up. And see what's involved with getting them switched over to LED.
Wonder if there'd be any sort of like energy grant type
That's
thing.
the
I
kind of thing
know
like
at one time
NYSERDA
One
NYSERDA
time,
NYSERDA
NYSERDA
went
wants
around
to-
and did that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, Amber, you did a presentation at one point about that. No.
No, but I'm just wondering, I mean, it'd be worth asking the question to
Yeah.
update those with.
Yeah, I'll talk to her tomorrow.
Just did all of theirs. It calls.
Yep.
And find out what they got.
And National Grid may be working with them in that regard too, so they
Yeah.
may
Yep.
be aware of that.
I'll check into that. Tomorrow. Also, I got another thing not on the agenda. I got a note from Dave Sluberski, the 1911 remodel. They need, I'd like to make a resolution that the town board hereby declares as surplus and junk certain anything that they declare over there as surplus and junk to be disposed of or donated as they can. There's plumbing fixtures that wasn't in the, and flooring, they're gonna try to give to somebody or dispose of. It's just tearing stuff out and trying to get rid of it in the best way possible.
If it's personal property,
There's
It-
it's fixtures and flooring and it's,
but if it, so. I guess this is a little different than the last time we did the cabinets,
Yeah,
and
it's
we did the cabinets and the plumbing fixtures last time.
Yep.
So is this, are they taking like the drywall and that's
that's
Is
just
it-
going away. Anything that's salvageable, they're trying to get to somebody that could use it.
but if there's a value to it, then it should be the town's, but if is it truly?
It's. There's really no value to anything over there.
Is there a dollar value? I mean, probably most of the stuff
But
is
I
like
don't
$5.
know what the stuff is, so it's kind of hard to just. We should have a list of the things that they're looking to surplus.
All right.
Ideally,
Okay, well then I'll get a list from them.
because we just need to know what we're talking about, because then
Yeah.
it's,
All right. Do it at the next meeting there. All right. We're gonna need a resolution to approve the repair of the entrance doors for the town hall. They're at a point, they're sagging. So the center hits and they don't always shut. And I've gone by a couple times and the doors have been open. So we need to get those fixed. We have a price, 24/6, I believe.
249048.
24.90/48. The hinges are failing. They're gonna put piano hinges on, so they're attached all the way down. I think that's 3 doors.
Motion?
Hmm?
Motion?
Sure.
I make the motion to authorize the supervisor to accept the repair of the town hall and then library exterior doors in the amount of $2,490.48. Do I have a second?
I'll
I'll s-
second it.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Aye.
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilman Guys,
Aye.
Supervisor Wilbur,
Now we need a resolution to distribute a local law to authorize property tax in excess of the 2%.
So I guess I could read that if you want.
Sure.
Okay. This is a resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Rush to schedule a public hearing to exceed the real property tax cap for fiscal year 2025. Whereas the Town of Rush 2025 preliminary budget has been prepared and resent to the Town Board of the Town of Rush, Town Board, for review and comment. And whereas the 2025 preliminary budget will be presented for adoption at the October 23rd, 2024 public hearing. And whereas the Town Board has determined that it may be appropriate for the town to establish the 2025 real property tax levy in an amount that would exceed the limited established in General Municipal Law, Section 3-C. Now, therefore, be it resolved that a public hearing shall be held on November 13th, 2024, at the Rush Town Hall, 5977 East Henrietta Road, Rush, New York, 14543, to determine whether the 2025 budget shall include a real property tax levy in excess of the statutory limit set for in General Municipal Law, Section 3-C. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. Do I have a second?
I just have one question before we move forward. Should we set a time for that?
Yes, we should say at, I'm sorry, 7:15.
We already have one at 7:15.
Not on that date. It's
Oh, okay.
on the 23rd. We have.
Very good.
At 7:15 PM. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Councilwoman Morelli,
Aye.
Councilman Chase,
Aye.
Councilman Guys,
Aye.
Supervisor Wilbur,
Aye. And finally, we've been looking into a new phone system. We were approached by Spectrum to upgrade. And they came with a price that's slightly better than what we're paying now, with probably better phones, because our phones are a challenge at times. Then, and Pam dealing with Steve Tanner at Pinpoint Group, he says, well, we do phone systems. He's come back with a phone system that's the price is slightly better for the first 4 years as we're paying off the equipment, but after a year, we would save, after 4 years, we would be saving $100 a month on our phone service. Besides our fax lines, we're going to update. Right now, we're paying about $100 a line. He says he could do it for a lot cheaper than that. Spectrum also said they could do it a lot cheaper than that. And we could incorporate the phone system at the highway garage, which is running on dial-up speed. There's stuff over there, and they need an upgrade terribly bad. So we're looking into it. Hope to have figures. Steve was working on it. He got sidetracked by somebody who had a water problem, but we should have numbers for the next town board meeting.
I sent them, but you can
Oh,
come over.
okay. All right. I didn't realize he got him so quick.
Yep, he did.
I was out of the office a little bit.
He did.
I missed it.
He was quick.
All right, upcoming meeting, next town board meetings, the 23rd. Subboards, conservation board tomorrow. Zoning board on the 17th, then planning board on the 22nd. Having conducted all the town business, make the motion that we adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, everybody.